Thank you, Isla. Then Lisa will talk to us about transferring with an open evaluation. And then moving on to credentialing for school psychologists and speech language pathologists. And last, we'll have some updates from our SC teams. So, Katie, would you like to start us off?
Yep, I'm going to share my screen.
Oops. There you go. Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, make sure everyone can see that. So the first thing I have quite a bit of information. I'm sharing the slides with Sarah to send out, but also send them out through my Power User and EdPlan contact list. So there is training for Power Users on the 23rd. We've had a couple open up. If you get a notice that there's not room, let me know. I'll put you on a waiting list, but we've been able to get everybody kind of off that waiting list that we had. If you've registered for someone else, if you can tell me who that someone else is, or if you've registered and you can no longer attend, let me know. I did send out on Friday afternoon an update with more information about the training and what to bring and things like that. So that's happening on July 23rd. Then we have 3 in-person end user training sessions. These are really, end user means anybody, you know, it's not really power user training because it's going to be more basic, but power users are welcome to come, especially if you're a new power user and you're wanting to learn more about the system and feel more confident in it. Those links are available. We're kind of just doing them in 3 different locations. If we need to offer additional ones when school has started, you know, if you let me know, like, hey, we're looking for more end user training, I'd like to send my teachers to it, or if I need to add another power user training, you know, more towards the fall, if you'll let me know what the feedback is, and then we can work around that feedback. Webinars, they're kind of grouped a little bit. These are going to be put on by PCG. Everything will be recorded for these webinars and shared out. So that those first 3 are more like all users, right? They're for end users or basics, going through the IEP system, how to write an IEP, using EdPlan, and then reporting and documents, looking at the standard reports, progress reports, how to create those documents that are in the system. So more basic kind of training, but what our thought was here is that if you have new teachers coming on, this would be good to have them have this information for them. Again, they can register. We know everyone's not going to be able to make those times. We try to make them more consistent with dates and times, and then it'll be recorded and shared out. There is another advanced reporting webinar, and that will be on August 5th. That is for power users, more data managers. There's going to be an administrator webinar, so that's your building principals, your assistant principals, whoever your school administrators, looking at the dashboard, district administrators that running those reports that they can look at, whether it's a standard report or an AR report. So that is there on Wednesday the 20th, and the link to registers are there. And I've sent this out already, so this is a little redundant for some, but and then also the evaluators webinar. And this one's important because we've been talking to everyone that a lot of the changes that are coming out in August are dealing with the evaluation process. And so this will take you through the evaluation process with the changes, with the development changes that have happened or are going to happen. Our next office hours will focus on those release notes as well and those changes. 2 new sessions that I have not shared out yet. They just got finalized and made up. A community stakeholder overview, and these are for the different agencies and community members across the state. I'm sharing it with you all in case you have someone that's local that maybe isn't on Cheryl's list. Cheryl has been sending this out to all of her contacts. So there are 2 sessions. One's in person over in Sand Hills in Columbia, and then the other one is going to be a virtual meeting. We had a good turnout last year. We did both as well. We had one at the library and then a virtual one, and we did have a good turnout from the different organizations around the state. Are there any questions before I keep going? I don't know if there's anything in the chat.
No, I don't see any in the chat, Katie.
Okay, perfect. All right, moving on. Virtual office hours, they are on the 31st. I did send out a list of all the office hours for the remainder of the school year for 25-26 with those links. As always, they'll be on Teams and they'll be recorded and shared out. So you have that information so you can save the dates. I have finally finished sending out all the power user ticket submission emails. So basically, what I need to know who your power users are. Is there someone that doesn't have access that needs access? And then a list of your ticket submitters. So the ticket submission permission used to be part of the power user permission. And now what we're going to do is separate it. So there were districts that were only allotted 3 power users. You know, this past year we kind of gave more wiggle room where we were like, okay, you can have an extra couple ones, you know, but we have to, with the ticket submitters, we have to stick to like what that is in the contract. So you can have more power users if you want them. I still caution, you know, there's some districts where it's 1 or 2 people and it depends on what hat you're wearing, but you're not going to want to give power user access to everyone because there's a lot of power in that power user access. So you have that and the ticket submitters. So sometimes you might be a power user, but you're not the one submitting tickets. And so that might be different. So now it's going to be an individual based permission. So emails were sent out last week and this week. I've been sending emails out and I can update this. So like if you give me the information and in 2 weeks it changes, that's fine. In 2 months it changes. You'll just need to email me every time you want to add someone as a power user or change out a ticket submitter. I'd like to get the information by July 21st. I have some wiggle room because I don't anticipate that we're going to make this change until August 1st. Because what we're going to do is we have to have all the information from all the districts at one time, and then they'll flip the switch, and then I have to go in there and go into each user and give them that special permission. So it'll probably be, we're looking at August 1st to get that done, and it'll be like an evening thing where we go in, change all the users, and the next morning. I don't even think you're going to notice a difference with that. All right. Single sign-on. All right, so the State Link launched over the weekend. From my understanding, and I'm leaving this meeting and go into another meeting about SSO. I know in the last hour I have gotten 3 or 4 emails from districts that their SSO is not working, it's not authenticating. I've already been on the phone with our IT people here at SCDE. Nick and I have gone back and forth, and so we're looking at what's going on. I'm assuming it's something to do with the State Link. It was supposed to just like go from ClassLink to State Link without any disruption, is how it was explained to me. And now we're seeing a disruption. So that is the up-to-date information that I have about SSO when it comes to those districts that were already utilizing SSO. If you have an outage, if you'll let me know if you have not already, just so I'm tracking, because right now I think it's 4 districts, but my assumption is it's going to be everyone that was using single sign-on already. So if I haven't heard from you, if you'll let me know, because maybe it's not, and that'll help us figure out what the issue is. So if you are currently on SSO and it's working, that would be good information for me to have as well, that you're not having this disruption, because I don't know, they can compare who does and who doesn't and see what the issue is. If your district has not yet moved to SSO, you're going to get contacted through an email and a thread that's going to include the following people. It's going to be me. It's going to come from me. It's going to be PCG. It's going to be Nick and Phil. And it's going to be SCD IT people. And then it's going to be the district's power users, leadership, and then the district's IT team. And then it's going to give you the directions on how to proceed with getting your district into SSO. And then what we'll do is, once you say like, yeah, we're ready, or we'd like to go by this date, we'll work with you on setting up that date, that what we'll consider as like the go live date, right? My recommendation is to put an announcement on your dashboard, and I'll send out directions on how to do that. That says like, on this date, you won't log in through the link, you're going to log in through here. And remember, we've talked about if they're manually entered, they will always log in through the MFA, like the old link, the old school way. So like those are your contract employees that don't come through the user feed. Any questions about single sign-on? All right. All right. Whew, what a day. All right, data integration. So graduation and exit. So what we have found is that the student graduation data is not being received by the state data store. And so those records aren't updated. So we are getting reports that students that should have been inactive were still showing up active. So we're having very large 12th grade classes showing up at EdPlan. And so we're actively working with data analytics and SCDIT. PCGs, we're working with them so that when they get that file, it's accurate and it has the information that they need to make those students inactive. Some of you have filed Zendesk tickets. Some of you emailed me directly. If you find that you're having this problem, you don't have to submit a ticket in Zendesk. I mean, you can. I'm not going to tell you not to, but you're going to get the same message that right now we're looking at it being resolved. I just don't want you to do double work by putting in the ticket. So we know that it's a problem. We know it's a problem across the state, and it is being worked on. All right, student, user, parent files. So we know that the student files are being published. Right now, from what I've been told, 33 districts are publishing student data. So those are the districts that have rolled over for the 25-26 school year. And then the user file, there's like I'm just gonna say a structural issue because that's the word they used. It's being resolved. I should have an update for the user file tomorrow. And then with that, what I want to talk about is like manually entering students. I'm sorry, manually entering users. You can do that. It is best if you have their PowerSchool code, and you can get that from your PowerSchool team, because when you put that in there, then when the rollover starts again, they won't have duplicate accounts. It'll kind of merge them. And then you can email and do a ticket in Zendesk and have their username, because the system's going to automatically produce or auto-populate a username. You can go into Zendesk, submit a ticket, and have their username changed to their email address, how it is for everyone else. And then if they need to be a certain, like if they need to be a power user, you can email me, I'll change their status, because the highest you're going to be able to go is district admin. So with that, I also want you to think about anyone that you know that's left. If you've had a power user that has left, you know, making sure that if they've left the district or they're not in that role, maybe you're changing them to a non-provisioned user. So changing access to users because that's not automatically happening where they're being pulled from EdPlan right now, because that new file isn't there. So if they were active on the 20th, which was the last time the user file was published, then they're still going to be active right now unless you've changed them to something. And then parent files, I think I missed that bullet because I was in the meeting typing this like just 20 minutes ago. Parent files, they have they are testing it. Nick is testing the parent file that he received from data analytics tonight. If the parent file is clean, goes through, there's no issues, then the next night he'll run it again, and that time he'll push it to production. So you'll see parent files possibly as early as Thursday. User files, again, I won't have an update on those until tomorrow. And as soon as I have any updates, like I've been pushing them out when I have information to share, like I'm giving you, you know what I know. So for my district that still shows students in 25, are you saying it's not rolled over due to a structural issue? Both folks are working to resolve that issue. No. So if you have students, if your student data is not showing the current grade level, then it could be one of two things. One, they didn't roll over. The PowerSchool has not rolled over to 25-26, or you possibly are a district with a 3-digit code and there's a dependency issue with districts right now with a 3-digit code that's being worked out by PowerSchool, that even though you've rolled over your data, those 3-digit district codes, it's not coming over through EdFi, and then EdFi cannot produce it and give that file to EdPlan. Oops, hold on, sorry, I was trying to go to the chat. So what district is that? If you'll email me, who is that? Benita, if you'll email me, I can dig deeper. I have a list of who's actually published and a list of those 13 districts that have the 3 numbers. New staff will roll over when the users roll over. So if you don't start school until next month and you're like, I have some time, like, you're fine. But if you're starting school next week, I know we've got a couple districts that, you know, Aiken starts Monday with students. So I know that there's some districts that they may need more. So you need to email me and let me know where you're at. Let me know where I can support with this, to see what I can do. But if you're not, for me, if I didn't need those users in for another 2 weeks, then I would wait it out. If I needed a couple of users here and there, power users, you know, new staff that are coming in, leadership roles, I would go ahead and I would manually enter them. But it would be a lot of work to manually enter, you know, 15 new teachers. So unless that was like a must at this point. Again, this is an update at 3:17 today. It'll change tomorrow at 8 a.m. I'll get another update. So any other questions? Okay, wait, hold on. Yep. Okay. So I think I got Susan. I got you. Like I said, I would wait until I would wait until like you can't wait anymore to roll them over, just so that you're not doing that double work. Because once that user feed rolls back in, starts again, and I'll have an update tomorrow. I'm supposed to be getting an update about this user file, so I'll know more tomorrow. So definitely, if you can hang out until tomorrow afternoon, like don't stay up tonight making users. I'll have more information. Benita, that's I think this is so the difference between last year and this year is last year we launched, so that data was just like coming for the first time, and it was a little bit different, and districts hadn't like rolled yet, and it was like a little bit of a slower roll, and there was a lot of growing pains. This year, a lot of this is unanticipated. The credentials that were needed didn't get done, like not done. I don't like to make it sound like that. The credentials that were needed weren't available, and that took like a day delay. And so every day though makes it another day, because if we don't run the file the night before, then the new data you have to wait till the next day, and so that's part of the problem too. So we anticipated the data rolling on Tuesday the 8th. On Monday I was notified like, hey, we don't have the credentials, like there's something wrong with credentialing, and so they needed to get the credentials right. And then when Nick ran the files, he was seeing some errors. So like, and we don't want to push something that has errors, because that'll cause more problems. So I am not, you know, I wasn't anticipating it this year, but I told them that we're going to have a meeting after we are done with this year, roll over, and we're going to say what do we put in place so that we can prevent this from happening next year. So I think there's some different pieces. You know, last year with the graduation, we just exited everybody at one time. So all of the students that had withdrawn, we exited at one time. If you guys remember that, I think it happened like early September, right? This year we can't do that. It's got to come through the right way. So they've got to work on fixing it, because we need this for our table 4 data. So that's a different piece of how that worked from last year as well. So I will send out all the information I have as soon as I have it. If you have questions, you know, if your IT's like, no, I rolled over, I don't know what's going on, have them email me. I'll set them up with our IT people. That seems to be helping a lot, is when we have the special ed group and the IT group together. So we're all on the same page of what the issue is. I've had a few interactions like that today.
What?
For SSO, for those districts that are having issues with SSO, I'll be jumping on a call to get that worked out. So lots of updates coming your way. And Sarah, I don't see anything else on my end, but if anybody else needs
No, I think you
anything,
got 'em all.
just email me.
Okay.
All right.
Katie?
Thanks, everyone.
Shannon Jones, you're up next.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to let everyone know that we have a CPI training coming up. We at the last summer university, we did trainer session, and we got a lot of questions about when we was offering CPI. We know that a lot of personnel need CPI prior to school starting back or in the beginning of the year. So we do have 2 CPI dates coming for you in August. The first date will be August the 13th. For August the 13th, that will be initial. And this is just for personnel that needs to be trained. This won't be a trainer session. So just for your teachers, your behavior interventionists, those individuals around the school that just need to be CPI trained. So again, August the 13th, that's going to be an initial training, and that'll run the full day from 9 to 5. And for those of you who just need the renewal portion of it, that will be August the 14th, and that will run from 9 to 1. I will put the registration link in the chat box in the chat. If anybody have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or reach out to Sarah. I will also send a link to Sarah to get out to all the directors so they can forward to their teachers. Any questions about upcoming CPI?
Thank you, Shannon. I don't see any questions in the chat, so. Oh, nope, now there is. Will there be a refresher, train the trainer?
The next refresher trainer will be is scheduled for December. So it'll be towards the end of December, beginning of January. We already have everything. We're just looking for a place. So I wanted to have it someplace different outside of Columbia, since we had the last one in Columbia. So if you have a place big enough for to host CPI, please reach out to me. But we are planning one for December, early January. And that will be full trainer as well as refresher trainer. I see Craig has his hand up.
Just want to let you know, our district is offering a train the trainer for initials and renewals in December, or actually in November as well. So just wanted to let people be aware of that.
And would that be open to other districts?
Yes. Yes, it is. So to be in Richland too. We haven't. We'll have a location in Richland too, but we are offering that.
Sounds good. And Craig, I'll reach out to you to get some of that information. So Sarah can share it out if you don't mind. Sarah can share it out if you don't mind.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Being a new director, is there a way or like a program or a system or something where I can go and look at who's been trained and who needs to be refreshed, and like maybe a date when they were trained, that kind of thing?
I do have a running list. Let me check and see if that's everybody in all the districts. CPI did just recently send me something, so let me go through and check.
And Shannon, Kelly Sellers also asked, how often is refresher required?
The recommendation is annually.
Okay, thank you.
And
Okay.
I'll try to see if that's for all districts, Sarah, and get that to you, because all new directors may be interested in knowing who in their district is trained. So I'll definitely try to get that spreadsheet to you.
Okay, great, thank you, that makes sense. Okay, I think we're all set for CPI. Then we can move on to NDLA and COP, Isla and LaToya.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to drop.
You muted yourself.
I muted myself instead of unmuting myself. Thank you. Registration link is in the chat. It's the same link for the new Directors Leadership Academy and the Community of Practice. You can sign up for one, the other, or both. It'll prompt you when you register. So if you have any issues, feel free to email me. This will be our first year doing the Community of Practice, and we're going to be talking about, it's going to be very collaborative and talking about how to utilize high leverage practices. So we encourage everyone to join. So new directors is typically, if you're in your first year or two, and that will be a blend of in-person and virtual sessions. The Community of Practice, we are doing all virtually, and they will be on Thursdays, typically from 9 to 11 a.m. And the dates are all in the memo. If you need the memo again, you can just send me an email and I'll send that over to you. Please register as soon as you can, just so we know what we are working with and making sure we have enough space for the new directors when we meet in person a few times during the year. We do have, I don't know that I have it on me right now. There is a schedule of topics, I believe, that we have that we'll
Alan,
send.
we can get that out to them through Sarah by Wednesday or Thursday of this week. We have it.
Okay.
Great.
So we can send out the schedule. And if if there's one you can't join, but there's another one you can, okay with Community of Practice. And of course, NDLA, we understand like other things come up too sometimes, but. Is that for NDLA on the 29th? NDLA, so the first session of NDLA will be on the 29th, and it will be from 9 to 3. So give you a little bit of time to get in the morning. It will be at SCDE, which is 849 Learning Lane in West Columbia, back of the farmers market. So we're keeping those similar times that we had to last year for in-person sessions. And then the virtual sessions will be a little bit shorter, just to be mindful of, being on the computer for all day can be exhausting. Fall admin, Sarah, do you want to tackle that one?
Yes. We don't have the dates approved yet, so we can't release them. But we'll have it for you by our next meeting.
And
Okay.
I did believe I put my email in there, so with the link. So if you have any questions or any
Yes.
issues with registration, just reach out to myself or Latoya, and we'll try to get your questions answered.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. And let's see, Lisa McClimate, you're up.
Yeah. Before we move on, Ashley, did you have a question?
Oh,
I saw her hand up. Maybe not. She took it down.
Take it down.
That's okay. I just didn't want to miss anybody that had a question.
thank you.
We've gotten some questions about transfer in with an open evaluation, and I apologize for not turning my camera on. Had a dermatology appointment yesterday, have a Band-Aid on my nose. They did ask me if I wanted a few extra Band-Aids. I said, no, I have plenty. Got home and all I have is Spider-Man and Mario Band-Aid. So I have a Spider-Man Band-Aid on, so I'm just going to leave my camera off. But transfer in with an open eval, we've gotten questions. So if an evaluation is over the 60-day timeline and it's not been completed when the student transfers to another district, the new district that the student transfers to and the parents can agree to a reasonable timeline to complete the evaluation, depending on how much time, how much was already completed or not completed in the previous district. The district just sends a PWN to the parent reflecting that decision to extend the timeline. And typically the sending district that allowed that timeline to expire is held responsible when we're looking at indicator 11. However, just like everything under IDEA, it depends. There are some exceptions to that. When I was in the district, a lot of times a parent didn't know they had to withdraw their child, and they took their child's been absent for 3 weeks, and suddenly they show up in a new district to register, and the withdrawal date in that previous district ends up to be 3 weeks of absences. So for the most part, that's true, and there are some exceptional cases. But if the evaluation period is less than 60 days and that student transfers to your district with only a few weeks remaining to complete the eval, and maybe minimal progress has been made in the previous district, and the receiving district and the parents, they can mutually agree to an extended timeline for completing the eval, even if it exceeds that 60-day requirement, provided the parents consent or the parents are agreeing. District sends that prior written notice to the parents outlining that decision. And, in that situation, no party is really held accountable. It will come up on the indicator 11 report for the district the student transferred into with that open eval. But that's why you just need to put an explanation in the comment section that explains that. The child came to us with only 10 days left of the eval, and parents agreed to extend the timeline, to allow us time to get the evaluation completed. We've heard some stuff that you can, folks are saying you could start a new timeline in Ed Plan to reset that 60-day timeline when a student transfers into your district. But we're asking that you please do not do that, because that will throw off our indicator, the validity of that indicator 11 data, because then that student's going to have to look like they have a open, closed, another open eval. And so it's the comment section that you just need to worry about if you've gone over that timeline, and just let us know that comment, and we're good with that. Any questions?
No, I don't see anything in the chat, Lisa.
Okay, you can move on.
I'm going to go on to the next topic then.
Sure, sounds good.
Credentialing for school psychologists and speech and language pathologists.
Yep.
There you
So this past legislative session, there were some updates to certification for both school psychs and SLPs, as well as administrators, but we're part of that. School psychs and SLPs are part of that advanced level certification piece in chapter 43, section 64. So as they were making those updates to administrators, we were able to make some updates to school psychs and speech. So they went into effect May 23rd, and requirements for certification apply to individuals employed by school districts as well as individuals contracted by school districts through a third-party vendor or service provider. And that could mean the person that's providing your service may live in Wisconsin, but they need to have a South Carolina certification to work in South Carolina virtually, if that makes sense. And Sarah, you can go to the next slide. So school psych certification, very simple, completion of a state approved certification program, meeting the state board requirements for the preparation of school psychs, or as a NASP approved preparation program, and that qualifying score on a subject area assessment. And no longer are we certifying school psych 1, 2, and 3. we were the only state that's ever certified school psych 1, 2, 3, I think. School psych 1 used to be just a master's level. There are no master level programs anymore. It's a minimum of a master's plus 30 or a master's and a specialist degree, which is 30 hours. And then 3 used to be your doctorate level school psychs. But like most other states, we're going to certify as a school psychologist, and it's your district that, you know, the difference is you're saying you have a master's plus 30, a PhD, that's on the pay scale that you use for your district. It just makes it easier for those who are coming from other states and want to get certified here to try to understand our process, and what that 1, 2, 3 means. And, you know, it's really the level of school psych is more for the pay scale at the district level than, you know, anything we've ever done. There's never been a difference between what you're allowed to do. I think years ago, if you were a master's level, there might have been a stipulation that you had to be supervised by a 2 or 3. But there haven't been just master level programs for quite a while. And I think, Sarah, next slide.
Excuse me, Lisa, I'm just going to interrupt. I'm going to stop
Sure.
sharing and reshare because I'm getting quite a few messages in the
Okay.
chat that some people can see them and some people can't see the slides. So I'm just
Okay.
see if I redo it, maybe it'll help matters. Okay. Hopefully now people should be able to see that. It looks like it on my end that it's being shared.
Yeah, I can see it. And I'm
Okay,
gonna
go
let
ahead.
Angie talk about the changes to oh no, one more slide.
Yeah.
School psych intern certification. I got a question about this and so there is a school psych intern certification. And there were some districts that were like, do school psych interns have to be certified? And yes, they do. You know, there's a non-refundable application fee, just like there is if you were applying for initial certification. You have to go through that fingerprinting process, same as a regular certification transcript. You need a letter verifying enrollment. And that letter really specifies that the applicant is working towards a professional certification as a school psych, and that the internship is being serviced through a program that is approved, you know, by by South Carolina as for educator certification of school psychologist. And then when you complete your internship year, your certificate then gets advanced to the professional level. You're not going to have to redo your fingerprinting, and you know, you have to update your transcript. That's all. I put the link in there to the website for school psych certification. And you know, if there's any questions or concerns, certification, you know, I can direct you to the folks in certification, but certification and Mary Hipp's office is where you know, you would refer folks to if they have questions about the process or any concerns about the process. Okay, any questions?
No, not in the chat.
Okay, and Angie, you want to talk about the changes to speech?
Yes, so speech language pathology was updated as well. And essentially, you have to complete a state approved program or an approved program that is by the Council for Academic Accreditation for Speech Language Pathology. So you have to meet one of those 2 criteria. You have to have a qualifying score basically on the praxis, and you have to have an active license. So actually, in order to get a license, number 1 and number 2 have to be completed. So essentially, the speech language pathology certification for the State Department is essentially based on your license to practice speech language pathology through the South Carolina Labor License and Regulation Board. So that's just as a speech language pathologist. But if you'll go ahead to the next slide. I wanted to provide some additional clarification because we have speech language pathologists, we have speech language therapists, and we have speech language pathology assistants. So a speech language therapist is someone who obtained that South Carolina Department of Education certification prior to 2020, because the State Department of Education of South Carolina no longer issues SLT, speech language therapist certification. And so there's a memorandum that explains that from August 2020 that's linked here. In terms of speech language pathology assistants, this one is the exception to all of the rules because they do not have any certification through the South Carolina Department of Education. I'll say that one more time. Speech language pathology assistants do not get certification through the South Carolina State Department of Education. They only have a license to practice under SELLR, South Carolina Labor License Regulation Board. So their scope of practice, the limitations in terms of what an SLP assistant can do, all of those things have nothing to do with the South Carolina State Department of Education. You have to adhere to the guidelines under speech language pathology assistants under LLR. And again, just before we go on to the next slide, just a reminder that this does apply to contract personnel as well. So just as Lisa stated, if you have contract school psychologists or contracted speech language pathologists, they also have to seek certification through the South Carolina State Department of Education. And I get that question a good bit. All right, go on to the next slide.
And just before you start talking about this, Angie, what you just said, I would recommend, it's just a recommendation to you all in the district, that if you are contracting a school psych, a speech language pathologist, don't take that contracting company's word that that person is certified or meets certification requirements. Ask them for the documentation and keep it on record for yourself so you know that that person truly is. There have been some issues throughout the state where the contracting company says, yes, they're certified, and then no, they're not certified. We find out later. So, that's up to you, but just a recommendation. Go ahead, Angie. I'm sorry.
No, that is a great reminder that you need to make sure you, as the hiring entity from a contract agency, you also have that documentation. Absolutely. Finally, there was an updated regulation related to retired personnel. So this is another question that I get a good bit, which is, okay, we're retired. What do we need to know in terms of that certification? Well, they've created a lifetime credential for a retired certificate. So it's initially issued for about 5 years, and it can be maintained every 5 years, and you just have to continue to submit that request. So there's a link there if you want to find out more information about that, because there are lots of questions, lots of, well, what if this and what if that? So there's a link that has a lot of frequently asked questions. And go ahead to the next slide. As always, if you have questions specific to school psychology, reach out to Lisa. If you have questions about speech language pathology, reach out to me. And if you have questions just regarding certification, Mary Hip is your go-to.
All right, thanks, Angie. I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, next up we have Carrie Cannengeiser for Skippy.
Hi, everybody. Just a couple updates with some offerings that we have. So first up is CORE, which is Connect on Reframing Expectations. And this is a partnership between Skippy and our colleagues at Pyramid Pieces. And this is a 6-session early childhood behavior series for district teams. And all sessions are virtual from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. starting on September 9th. And we know we've heard a lot about kind of the reports around the challenges with the increase in challenging behavior in early childhood, and folks are looking for solutions that impact positive behavior change for young children. And we also know about alarming rates of preschool suspensions and expulsions. So this is a great opportunity to get together a district team, and we're saying to include at least one building level administrator who oversees discipline and one individual who's in the role of a behavior specialist. And we know that looks different district to district. And then you can register up to 4 participants on that application. And we have extended the application through the end of this month. As always, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us about that. We also, if you go to the next slide, our friends at Basque are hosting an Echo series with all of the SC Teams members. So you'll see folks from Ask, from Skippy, and from Task there as well. And this is a great opportunity for getting ready for the beginning of the school year, launching the school year strong with high impact proactive behavior and transition practices. You'll see information on the screen for how to register, and those sessions are taking place beginning on Tuesdays, beginning August 12th from 12:30 to 1:30. And a reminder about Skippy's, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. Early Childhood Inclusion Conference, September 25th. Registration is open. You have a few weeks left of early bird registration through the 31st of this month. And we just recently announced that our keynote speaker will be Kimberly Tussaud, the president and CEO of our very own Able South Carolina. So we're excited to have her kick off this conference and talk about some real life stories and personal wins around how preschool and early life experiences really truly lay the foundation for a more inclusive future. And then related to our conference, we still have applications open through August 15th for districts who are doing great things to lay that early childhood foundation. So if you have worked with Skippy or Pyramid Pieces and there's a lot of you, and I know you're all doing great things, so please submit a nomination for yourselves about the work that you're doing. And if you, again, as always, if you have questions, we're here to help you. We can help you with that application too. And then just one last reminder, if you'll go to the next slide, Sarah. We know that currently our early childhood performance factor, well, not currently, but we are making changes to that. So we've been rolling out lots of information for what that looks like to help all of our district early learning programs and everyone that works on those indicators with, that's the least restrictive environment, preschool environments indicator, as well as the child outcome summary indicator. So if you want to get a jump start on making sure that you understand entering the data in that, and we can help you navigate all of those pieces, we did host a webinar a few weeks ago, so that recording is available, and we are working on some additional supports, so stay tuned for that. Any questions? All right, thanks everyone. I'll pass it to my colleagues at Task.
All right. Thank you. Joy, you're up. I will tell you, I'm having, just this last couple of minutes, I'm having some audio problems. So Joy, are you up here?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Well, I am having all sorts of difficulties today. I'll get this done quickly for you and move you about your day. I wanted to share information about our statewide transition and dropout prevention conference. This year's event will be on October 20th through 22nd in Greenville. Again, at the Hyatt downtown. We're excited to offer content in both dropout and transition practices. And this year we're adding a half day on the 22nd, where we're pulling back all of those statewide or local interagency transition teams to do some planning to help regroup and pull your local teams back together with some guidance and support. So we're really excited about that and encourage you to keep an eye out for information about that additional free day coming down the pipe. In the next slide. So I wanted to kind of revisit quickly our tiered technical assistance framework for those of you that weren't in the small group of districts that are in need of assistance through the South Carolina Teams process. We do offer support. Obviously, we offer support through our conference and trainings and the website and other resources. But if you want specific support in dropout prevention or transition or say the credential, we are here for you. We will have an application out to you shortly in the next couple of weeks. You can request support in that and those two specific areas or three specific areas. If you would like that. So all in all, with our intensive TA, we are really focused on graduation rate and career readiness, but we do still offer support in secondary transition, the credential, and other related areas. The next slide. Along with that, if you met requirements and looking at the determinations, we know that there are a ton of districts out there that receive zeros in either career readiness or graduation rate. And we are here for you. We're here to support you, meet you where you are, meet you where you want to be, and make sure that you have the resources and support that you need in order to get there. And that could be us resources to you and kind of a step-by-step process and getting you on your way, or it could be us coming out to your district and providing support, hand over hand and making sure that we help you form your teams and get started that way. So I want you to know we're here for you, are willing to meet you kind of where you are, but we can provide any level of support that you need in those areas. Okay. And another reminder that we have our website and our app with all of our resources. So please reach out, visit our website, register for the conference. If you have practices or teachers programs that you'd like to share with others, we encourage you to present as well. And hopefully we will see you in October at the statewide conference. So thank you.
Thank you, Joy. I have the agenda for the next two meetings on August 5th, which is the first Tuesday of August. We will have our own Albert Roman and our data team talking about Power BI for determinations. And then on August 19th, we'll have guests from South Carolina Hands and Voices, Beginning South Carolina, and the South Carolina School for the Deaf and the Blind Division of Outreach Services to talk with us about deaf and hard of hearing services for early childhood.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, Sarah, that we're also looking to get to you guys a little bit of an overview of what they're branding now as the GPS system. You might have heard of it. It's basically a combination of Rally and Podium, some platforms that are available to all districts and all educators and administrators in districts. We wanted to ask some of our data folks and IT folks here to present specifically to you guys, our special education administrators, on the GPS and the different features that it has. And it's pretty easy to disaggregate the data by students with IEPs. And so just to kind of show you that tool. And there's also a spreadsheet that has every district's, kind of gatekeeper to those, to the GPS platform. It's basically a data visualization tool that has things like attendance, discipline, and also assessment data in there, both formative and summative. So anyway, we'll look to get that on calendar. We haven't been able to pin down our folks yet, our colleagues from the other office, but we're hoping in August or September to add that to the list as well.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, we do have one. How is the data being entered into those platforms? Is it someone at the local level where we can include district-specific data?
Yeah, I understand that the source, Rally is, it's just like EnrichAssess used to be the forum. So I know the assessment data is coming from there. A lot of the attendance data would be coming from PowerSchool. But we are inviting the IT folks because they can probably answer more specific questions on about how and where the data comes from. These aren't special ed databases. These are general ed databases that we have.
Peter, this is Dale Ashley from Abbeville, and because I've just kind of transferred from the instructional department now in special services, I can kind of answer that question. As far as the data goes, there is all districts had to upload historical data and send data to the State Department prior to December. And so that's kind of housed in a share file. And then they're slowly adding all the other pieces of data into that. But as they come, so as the data comes into that share file, and then that is how that data is kind of coming from everything that's going into the stadium, the data warehouses. There are few that have data links so that it automatically uploads the data like NWEA, but for the majority of them, once we get the data files from the company, we have to put them in that share file, which is where the State Department is pulling it and putting it in there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's why we definitely want to get you folks so you can answer, ask all kinds of questions about it. So that's the assessment piece. I think the attendance thing, as I understand it, and Ashley, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that should come from PowerSchool though, the incident management system.
That is correct, yes, sir. But all the assessment data is in a share file that a person at each district has access to.
Okay, well, I think that wraps up our information session for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And the recording of this session will be in your Google Drive within a week or so. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for joining us.